Hello, everyone. Welcome to this webinar on closing larger deals with ease, embracing a curiosity-driven sales strategy. This is the third and final webinar in our September Sales Strategy series. I'm your moderator, Jenny Alton from the New York Small Business Development Center Central Office. We have three fantastic presenters with us today. Deana Jean, founder of the Success Tribe Network, Shanel Evans, co-founder of Fire Savvy, business advisor and marketing coach, and the main presenter for today, Dawnna St. co-founder of Fire Savvy, who has done over $1 billion in sales and specializes in sales strategies for those who may struggle with sales. This webinar is brought to you by the New York Small Business Development Center, a U.S. Small Business Administration resource partner. We have regional centers associated with academic institutions across the state and numerous outreach offices. Our free advising, education, research, and advocacy services are made possible by funding from the SBA, New York State, and our host campuses. So you know, this session is being recorded. We will share a link to the recording with attendees in the next few days in a follow-up email. Attendees are muted and will not be on camera today. The chat is open, and I know that Dawnna will be using it today. We also have the Q&A box, which you can open from the Q&A button that is at the bottom of your Zoom window. If you don't see it there, you can click on More, and then you should see a Q&A button option. And so put your questions there and then use that chat to be interactive today during this session. And we are glad to have you here. So with that, I'll turn the time over to Shanel, who is going to give a few remarks.
Awesome. Good morning and what's up, everyone? I'm excited to be here. And if you are excited, I really want you to lean in, because what we're going to work on today and what Dawnna is going to work through is how do you have your client literally at the end of your sales call, at the end of your stage present, craving your service, craving your offer. So let's back up just a little bit, and because this is a third part of the 3-part sales series. So Deanna's here. She kicked off the series with giving you the intel on how to build collaboration so that you can build your know, like, trust, so that people are excited about working with you and they know what you do and how you do it so well that they can refer you, that they can build you collaboration partners. Then we did week 2. Week 2 was me. So go back, listen to Deanna's recording, listen to Shanel's recording. My chat was all about how do you leverage your local influence and turn that into digital currency. You built a decent social media following, and now you're like, I hit a revenue ceiling and I want to be able to meet and expand my audience. Today, now you know how to build your know, like, and trust. Now you know how to be a local superstar. All right, now you got these engagements. Now you got people on the calendar. What do you say to make them open up and literally crave your service? So Dawnna is going to share with you today on how to do that, how we've done it. All 3 of us have done that in a super easy, powerful way. Even if you don't like sales, even if you're like, that's cringy, I don't want to say things like that. No, we're going to teach you the real way, the authentic way, the more curious way to approach sales. Dawnna's been on stages like Starbucks and Amazon, Microsoft, and taught their teams how to sell. So we're going to learn today from the best of the best on how to make sales effortlessly and you're effortless in your business. All right, Dawnna, it's all you.
Thank you so much, Shanel. Okay, so this is going to be super interactive. That's why we do have the chat open. And just to make sure that everyone has the keyboard in front of them, make sure you have a pen, something to write with, because again, this is interactive. And this is all I need you to do right now. Ready? Raise your hand. I can see you, Monica. Your hand isn't up. Raise your hand. Okay, now, all I want you to do is reach down and touch something on your desk or whatever, in your car. If you're driving, be careful, but just touch something, grab it. Okay, now I want you to type in the chat what you just touched. I touched my shades. They just happen to be on my desk. So I touched my shades. I'm going to type that in. What did you reach out and touch? I just want to make sure that we all know how to use our keyboard and that we're here and that we're interacting and that we know this is going to be fun. Because even though I can't see you, I need to know you're there playing along with me. All right, because here's the deal. I, believe it or not, now, by the way, I can't see anything without these. So pin, earrings, water bottle, shades, hey. Oh, that was me. Remote, okay. So here's the thing. I have the answers to sales. I know the secret sauce. I'm going to make this super, super ridiculously easy for you. But to do it, we have to interact back and forth a little bit. So let's get started. I want you to imagine, Shanel grabbed her phone. So I want you to imagine that you are getting ready to get on a call with a client. Get ready at your keyboard because they're going to answer a question. So someone just called you. They're interested in your services. They're ready to have a conversation with you. Okay. And they go, I've checked out your website. I've seen all your stuff. How much does it cost to work with you? What is the first thing that you say to them? The very first thing you say to them, I don't care what you put, just write it in. What's the first thing you say to them? They pick up the phone, they call you, they get you on the call, and they tell you, I've seen your website, gone through your stuff, gone through your social media. I know everything about you. All I really could not find was the price. How much does it cost to work with you? That's the answer I'm looking for. And I'm just going to tell you right now, I won't move on until you give me the answer because I already know this answer and I'm not answering it for me. So what do you got? And y'all, I know y'all are bold. Okay, there you go. Well, I would give them a cost instead of asking what their budget is. I like that. Okay. Are you trying to be supplied by me or just a one-time purchase? I like that. Those are two good ones. How about you, Michelle or Monica or Ali? Do you guys want to jump in? Okay, I'm going to look for one more and then I'm going to tell you what the answer is. Just give me one. Depends on the project. Depends on the project. So now I'm going to help you out. When someone calls you and they get on the phone with you and they ask you for your price, this is what I always do. I go, well, I have a range. That range could be anywhere from my lowest ticket price, right? So it could be anywhere from $2,500 to over $100,000. And why do I do that? Because if they're price shopping, then they're looking for a commodity. And people who are looking for a commodity are not looking for you. That's the first thing you need to know. If you're doing anything where you want to be more on an exclusive, a sought after, you can't be a commodity. So I give them a range. And I'm like, now I'm going to ask them the question that matters. Here's the phrase that pays. Write it down. What's going on in your world that has you seeking out? And it's whatever you sell. So if someone called me and they said, Dawnna, how much do you charge? And I said, well, for sales coaching, quite honestly, it's anywhere from $3,750 to over $100,000. I mean, it's according to what you're doing. Are you just trying to become a certified high-end sales pro? Or are you looking for me to coach your entire sales team? Which one is it? Where are you in that range? Here's the real question. So what's going on in your world that has you seeking out sales coaching today? That's the question that you want to ask. So if you were to fill in the blank, you would say, I want you to type it in. What's going on in your world that would have you calling for? What is that last part? What is it that you do? Because you have to be able to say it in a phrase. If you go on too long and you start telling them about what you do, they're so not interested. This changes the game from asking people pain points. No, and what's keeping you up at night? No one wants to talk to you about their sleep pattern, and no one wants to dive into their pain because then all you're doing is focusing on pain. But if you ask someone what's going on in your world that has you seeking out sales coaching, or what's going on in your world that has you seeking out, what is yours? So what is yours, Ali? What would they be seeking out for you? How about you, Kay Tyler or Michelle? What would they be seeking out? Write that in so I can play along with you, right? And I'll give you coaching here, but you got to give me some information to coach with. So I like that. What's going on in your world that makes collaboration important right now? Right? This is amazing for Deanna, because when Deanna goes and works with companies, especially when they're at their conferences and stuff, she's like, how are you using collaboration at your conferences when you have a booth in order to get more leads and in order to drive up sales? But she asked that question. And the first three things that the client tells you are the things that you want to listen to the most, because those are the things that matter to them. See, when you just go into price, you become a commodity. But when you actually go the other way and ask them about their world, they're excited to talk about it. Think about it. People are always wanting to talk about themselves. So let them. And the more you get them to talk, the better. So that's where you want to start. Now, once you understand what's going on in their world, based on what they told you, you're going to ask the next best question. So that's step 2, the next best question. So let's say someone said something like, well, you know, I have a really large district and I'm looking for bus routing software. Okay, I could literally say, just based on that, without anything else, and let's go a little further. I'm looking for bus routing software, you know, because we're getting a little frustrated with what we have right now. So they just gave me 3 things. They're looking for bus routing software. They have a large district and things are frustrating. I now have 3 questions that I'm going to ask. Based on what they said, I usually write it down and then I circle the key phrases. Key phrases, right? So the first key phrase that they said large district. How large is a large district? Like if they're in Rhode Island, quite honestly, and they said large district, a large district in Rhode Island is quite honestly a small district in Texas, right? So what is a large district? How do we quantify that? And that would be the first question I ask. I'm like, okay, so you said large district. Tell me what you mean by large district. How many buses is that if we're doing bus routing software? Right? So when someone says to you something is large, you want to make sure that you quantify it. You want to quantify and get the details. The second thing they said is that they're looking, so we have a large district, we're looking for new bus routing software because we're really frustrated with our current software. Oh, pause. New software. What software are you currently using? Right? We're rolling back, we're getting the client to talk, because here is the secret to high-end sales. If you really want to go from, and we're going to talk about what high-end sales is in a little bit, but if you really want people to spend a little extra, get them to talk a little more. So now when we talk about high-end, when we talk about current software, I'm like, well, wait a minute, what software do you have right now? What are you using? This is important because now for me as a seller, it lets me know specifically what do they have in-house that I can leverage in my own solution. Because people love it when you can leverage the stuff that they have versus having to throw it away. They feel like now that money that they invested isn't garbage. And then the third thing they said was frustrated. Oh, they're frustrated. What's frustrating you about your current software? What if they have frustrations that we can't solve? Now we're wasting their time. And we can end the conversation and possibly send them to someone that can help. But what if they have frustrations that we know we can help them with? Then we really want to make sure that we identify what are those frustrations and how can we help you? And all we did was ask one question. What's going on in your world that has you calling me today? That's all we did. The customer will tell you their top 3 pain points. So if you really want to get your customers to talk to you, you have to actually play along with them. Does that make sense so far? So good? Because I'm going to keep going. And listen, if it doesn't make sense, if you have a question, please put it in the webinar chat or, drop it over in QA. I just learned the QA thing a few minutes ago myself. So drop it over in the QA and let me help you along. Let me coach you with this. This is the very first question you want to ask. It's an easy question to ask and makes your life so easy. But then, you're welcome, Kay Tyler. But then we go on to the next one. So now they've given us this information. They've opened up, right? But pause. Before we go into opening up, I want to talk to you about what high-end sales is. Because most people think high-end sales, better yet, when you think about high-end sales, what's the first thing that you think about? What comes to your mind? I'll type my answer in. Shanel, Deanna will type in their answer. What do you think about when you think of high-end sales? I'll tell you what most people think about. I'll type it in here. See if I can spell some of the right words. I'll call them out as well. Like I like that answer. So Mr. B said high ticket items, big orders. Give me an example of like high ticket items, big orders. Give me an example. Jenny said sales pressure. Chanel said, I think of lifestyle, luxury or lifestyle convenience. Right? And this is what a lot of people tell me. They think of luxury, yachts, expensive cars, and million-dollar houses. Let me tell you what high-end sales or high-end sales really is. I'm going to use a typical service. Let's say manicures, pedicures, because both men and women can get manicures and pedicures. So I want you to imagine if you're going to go and get a manicure and or a pedicure. We'll do pedicures, right? So you're going to go get a pedicure. An average pedicure costs you about 30 to 50 bucks, right? If you say $30 to $50 is average, then someone charging you $150 to get a pedicure seems high. That's high end. When you sell your services at the top or beyond the top of the range, you're selling high end. And of course, people go, no one would ever buy a pedicure for $150, and yet they do. That person is doing less than, they're doing, half the work, they're making 3 times as much money. But why is that? Why are they selling it for $150? Because there's a different conversation that when you're doing high-end sales and when you're doing everything else. Everything else, when you're doing regular sales, you are in the mode of convincing. You get a lot of money objections. You're dealing with, people coming up with excuses. When you actually change the game on your money range, people have completely different conversations with you. They're looking for more of the value and the experience. So Mr. B said, in my store, it would be like a full crate engine instead of just a few parts or a rebuild, or an auto shop ordering multiple parts for their stock. See, and that's the thing, when you start thinking of it as the product and less of the service, it takes you out of the range of high end. When you start thinking of the experience and stop thinking of your competitors and stop thinking of yourself as a commodity, now you get more into the higher end range where you could literally add 25, 50, even 100% to your current price point just because you're adding an experience that reduces the frustration of the client. Okay, so he's like becoming their main parts guy. Maybe, but what if there was part of your service that you could do that your competitors aren't doing that would actually be worth it for them? What is the thing that frustrates your clients the most? So I'll tell you, when in sales coaching or in coaching in general, the thing that frustrates our client, not our clients, but the clients out there the most, is that they don't have access to the coaches. They can watch videos, they can write something up, they can take some notes, they can send a text message or a DM somewhere, and they can hope somebody responds to it, but they rarely have access to the coach. So what is it that we charge, that people pay us extra for? Access. So what is that thing that everyone else is doing the same thing, but you can do that one thing that's just a little bit different? That one thing will change the game in regards to how much you can charge, because people pay more for the experience. Okay, so let's keep going. So I don't want you to think of high end as just they paid more money for a bigger quantity. No, they paid more money for a different experience. Listen, if you go to Outback Steakhouse, it's about $2.50 an ounce for a ribeye. But if you go to a Michelin star restaurant, it's about $50 an ounce, $25 to $50 an ounce for that same steak. Why? It's a completely different experience. Same steak, different experience. How are you changing the game on the experience so you can get higher end buyers? Let's go to the second part. So now you talk to your client, you understand their frustration. That frustration is what is impacting their experience. Now we want to go to the next level. By the way, we don't want to throw out these questions as if they're in an interrogation. If someone tells me something that they're experiencing that's frustrating, I connect with that frustration. I might talk about a previous client or when I had that frustration as well. So Jessica said, mine would be your personalized notary. No need to Google or go to UPS or run the chance of an inexperienced person. I also offer the convenience of performing notarization remotely. You can be on vacation and still have your personal notary. So Jessica, for someone like you, what if you knew of a person or a company who had regularly scheduled notary services? Like maybe they were in real estate or something like that, and they're looking for someone who can regularly handle their notary services. And you go, you know what? I know on average, that type of company does about 10 a month, right? Or whatever, but they can pay a monthly service to be with you, to be at the top of the list. So now when they call, you're like, you know what? You call, you don't have to wait. You get this, this, and this that other clients don't get. You get a different level of service because you recognize that the frustrations that they're dealing with is, I can't get someone in a timely manner. It's always 24 to 48 hours. It's always this, it's always that. Those are the things they're complaining about. You don't have to wait to do it. You can do it right now. You have your regular level of service, and then you have this secondary level of service. And this secondary level of service is this higher end service where they have a special phone number they have a special phone number. They can call the bat phone, right? Other people can't do it, but they can call the bat phone. And now they can get you. And maybe it's not a 24-hour service, but maybe it is an extended hour service. They can get you from 7:30 a.m. to 9 p.m. And eventually you'll have other people under you that can handle those extended hours, right? Because we want you to work on your business and not in your business. But now for these people who are using these notary services often, they know no matter what, especially in the real estate industry, no matter what, I know when I pick up the phone and I call Jessica, that because of my level, because of my tier level, I can get her on the phone. And they're just passing that on to their client when they put it in the cost for doing the notary service in the first place, doing the real estate deal. So now you have these clients that are at this higher tier, they're at this platinum tier, where they have a different level of service than anyone else, right? Guaranteed within X amount of time frame that they can get their notary services done. And they pay a monthly membership, right? A retainer. I prefer to call it a retainer than a membership. They pay this monthly retainer to make sure that they're getting that service at that time. So now they're at the top of the heap. This is what I'm talking about when we're talking about high end. High end sales is sales. I can teach you how to sell, quite honestly, anything. I can teach you how to sell these glasses for nothing, for $1,000 when I paid $2 for them. But what really matters is, how do you satisfy the experiences that people are having in a different way? How do you give them a higher level of experience by first understanding their frustration? And that first question that I told you to ask them, what's going on in their world that they're looking for a notary service today? You want to pay close attention to what they're saying to you, because everything they tell you tells you exactly what they want solved. And now your job is to figure out how to solve it, not cheaper, faster. Money loves speed. The faster you can solve it, the more money they'll pay for it. Always remember that. So let's go on to number three. So you've asked a question and you've dug deeper by clarifying some of the things that they've said from what they've told you. By the way, I've asked that question, what's going on in your world that you need a sales coach? And all of a sudden, I got to tell you, people will talk to me for 45 minutes. They will. Your job is to get them to talk. Remember that. Number two is clarifying. Number three, now we want to ask them, well, how'd you kind of get here? Like, what's your history of getting to this point of frustration, right? So for example, I'll use Jessica because she gave me so much great information that I can use. For example, for Jessica, you go, okay, once you get that, okay, so you're looking for this client to have their such and such sign within the next 24 hours, da 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 da. You can always go back to them later and you can go, you know, I really enjoyed working with you. Let me ask you a question. How long have you been doing this? How often does this come up for you? You know, the one thing that you could do, especially if you want a notary on demand, is, and now you can talk to them about that secondary service. Having the bat phone where you can just call me. Having that instant reply, money loves speed, right? So now you can have this secondary conversation. The secondary part of this conversation is literally finding out how they got to this point. What have they already tried that worked? And what did they try that didn't work? They might even tell you, oh my God, you know, back when I lived over in Ohio, I had this notary service that, I mean, I could call her and she did A, B, and C, and everything was taken care of. And the amount of money we made because we knew that that could be taken care of in this amount of time was absolutely amazing. I can't find anyone who's doing that now. They just told you exactly what they're looking for. So ask your clients. Don't just be so concerned about them dropping money in your pocket right now. Ask them a little bit about, hey, what did you try already? Somebody might tell you, you know, I tried to be a notary, but I couldn't keep up with the stamp. Ask them, what have they tried already? Because anything that they've tried, number one, you could probably leverage. And number two, you do not want to repeat something that they've tried that failed. You don't want to offer a failure. Let me give you an example. You ever, we've all done this, where your Wi-Fi at your house has gone out. You know what I mean? Like your internet just stops working, right? Everybody experienced that. Type yes if you've experienced that. I know Jessica's on, but type yes if you've experienced that your Wi-Fi has gone out and you know what to do next, right? Yes, of course. You know what to do next. The next thing that you do is you go over to the router, you unplug some things, you leave it off for 30 seconds, right? We all know this, right? I'm telling, like, everybody's like, yes. And then, look, Kayla, and you reset, and you reset. You know this, you reset, right? Then it doesn't come back on, and you pick up the phone and you call them. What do they tell you to do? I'll wait, because you know the answer. Let's see, somebody said the same thing you just did. How do you feel? How do you feel when they do that? I know everybody's like, yes, you feel aggravated. It is so annoying. So I want you to imagine this. Your customer calls you. They ask you for a solution. You give them a solution. You never ask them what they tried, and you tell them to do the same thing they just did. How do you think they feel about you? So we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that we go, so wait a minute. What'd you try already? What worked? What didn't work? Why do you believe it didn't work? We never want to offer our customers something they did that didn't work, right? We want to be like, you know, I get why you would have done that. That's actually brilliant that, yeah, that you would have thought that would work. I'm surprised. You know what? Let's take you down a different path. Let's not do that again. It is so critical that you do that. Okay. Hardest part, and I'm going to ask you what it is. What do you think most people would say is the hardest part of the sales conversation? What do you think that would be? I'll let you type it in. I love that you guys are like, yes, I just did that. I just unplugged the router. Okay, what's the hardest part of the sales conversation? People get to this part and they're not sales pros, and it always feels just a little bit cringy for them. What do you think it is? I'll type it in. Asking for the sale, the price, talking about money. Oh my God, getting the pay, right? That is the worst because you're sitting there going, I don't know, I'm going to say this number and then I'm going to hear the excuses. And now I got to battle against the excuses. I'm going to tell you a secret. I never battle against the excuses. I don't have to. I'm going to tell you how to do it. So if you want me to tell you exactly how to get past the crazy excuses and the cringiness of the sales conversation, write in the chat, ready. When I see 5 readies, I'm going to tell you exactly how to get past the cringiness of a sales conversation. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, one more, 5. There it is. Here it is. I'm going to tell you exactly how to do it. So you are going to stop selling your product. You're not going to sell it. What you have to recognize is the solution that you have is the golden formula. It's the magical elixir. It's the thing that they need. You're actually in the power seat. And the reason you're chasing the sale is because you don't recognize how powerful you are. So what we're actually going to do is we are going to take the client through what we call the gauntlet, I'm writing it down for you, of disqualification. The gauntlet of disqualification. This is what it is. There are 3 things generally that people have to think about when they're going to buy something. Time, the effort that they have to put in, and money. Those are 3 things they're worried about. So before you even offer, you are not going to make this offer. I don't care. They called Jessica and they said, Jessica, I want your notary services. And you're like, that's fantastic. Because you know what? And the best notary up in this piece. And you know what? The services we have are like no other. But before I do notary for you, I need to ask you a couple of questions. I think I have something that's really going to work for you. Here's the first one. Time. What does the schedule look like? How quickly do you need it? What time investment are you going to? Are you going to have things ready to go? Time is the first thing that you want to talk to them about. Time. You are qualifying them to ensure that they have time required for your service. Qualifying them for time required. You are not qualifying yourself because you know your service works and you know how quickly you're going to get it there. You know how quickly you can do it. So you're qualifying them. When people are going to work with us from a sales perspective and they really want to increase their revenues, the first thing I say is, do you have 3 to 6 hours a week to invest? Because if you don't, this isn't worth my time or yours. It's not going to make a damn bit of difference to you if you cannot invest at least 3 to 6 hours. And you're like, oh my God, can I do that? You can do this. You have the golden formula. You have the most valuable thing to them. So of course, ask them if they have the time. Ask about time and schedule. And by the way, this is how I go into this. You know, I think I have the right solution for you. There are 3 things I have to ask you about: time, effort, and money. Let's start with time, and then I go to time. Then the next thing I go to is effort. No matter what you're selling, I don't care what you are selling. The person on the other end has to have skin in the game. For Jessica, they got to make sure the papers are ready to go, right? For Ali, they got to know what they need, right? They got to, like, they got to, hey, if I was going to go and get a massage, I at least got to show up. I mean, if I don't show up, I'm not putting any effort. How am I going to get the massage? You still have to put in the effort, right? If they say, well, you know, you got to come here, you have to have taken a shower, and you should wear XYZ clothes. If I'm like, I'm not doing any of that, I'm not willing to put in the effort, I'm not a good client. You need to qualify the client to ensure that they actually deserve the services that you have. You need to qualify the client to ensure they deserve the services that you have, not just the money. So this is what I say. Okay, I think I have something that's absolutely perfect for you. I just want to make sure it works from a time, effort, and money perspective. Time, and then I talk to them about time. Effort, then I talk to them about effort. Hey, if I'm gonna give you this sales coaching, there's some things you're gonna need to go and do on your own. If you had 3 hours to go and work on your own, are you actually gonna do the work, or are you gonna sit and watch 90 Day Fiance? I just need to know, what does your effort level look like? Because if you're not gonna put any effort, this isn't gonna work for you. You have to ask your clients about the effort they're willing to put in. And then when I want to talk about money, I'll say the following. We've talked about time. We've talked about effort. The only thing left to talk about is money. What I've done is I've now said 3 times, probably 4 times, that we're going to talk about money. As you're constantly preparing the client to talk about money. So number one, they go through the gauntlet. They're going to the gauntlet of disqualification. Hey, what's going on in your world? What have you already tried? Oh my gosh, I understand your frustrations. You know what? I think I have a solution that's perfect for you, but I need to talk to you first about the time, effort, and money to make sure it makes sense. Let's talk about time, and then we'll talk about effort and money. Okay, now that we've talked about time, let's talk about effort, and then we'll talk about money. Okay, we've talked about time and effort. Now let's talk about money. You know what we're going to freaking talk about now? Money. All of a sudden, it's not this big old cringy thing. And then I say the following. I have a service that I think is right for you. However, based on a couple of nuances, it ranges from this to this. It ranges from $100 to $250. It ranges from $50 to $1,000. I don't care what the range is. You need to come up with a range. And then ask them, where are you within that range? Because if I go, okay, you want to be a certified sales pro, it ranges from $3,750 to $7,500. Where are you within that range? If they go, oh my God, $3,750 is way too expensive, I'm not in that range, they're not my client. I can say, okay, well, you know what? You can go to salessuperstar.net and do a download, and you can read the document there. It'll be really helpful because they're not my client. But if I say it's in this range, where are you within that range? I don't care if your service is $100 and you know it's $100. Say it's between $100 and $500. Where are you within that range? If they say $250, then you need to make sure that you've talked to us so we can make sure we can show you how to have a range of service prices. But now you know where the client is in the range. There's no need of you even telling them about your offer if they're not in the range. There's no need of you having the conversation. If Jessica knows that she charges $500 for her notary services, and she says it's between $500 and $1,000, and they're like, oh, I only have $100. Why is she even going to talk to them about her notary services? The conversation is over. You know what? I am so sorry that our services start at $500. For $100, this is the recommendation that I have. And if you're ever looking for something, you know, a more exclusive service, this is where you should come. I really appreciate talking to you. Oh, but tell me more. Tell me about your stuff. Why? Why am I going to sit here and have a whole conversation with you about my stuff? You clearly can't afford it. You're not my client. By the way, if they tell me they don't have time, I'm like, this isn't the service for you. Oh, you're not gonna prepare the documents. This isn't the service for you. You're not gonna do the work. This isn't the service for you. You don't have the money. This isn't the service for you. Time, effort, money. Those are the 3 requirements. Here's the thing. If you want the dollar to chase you, you got to stop chasing the dollar. Benjamin can't catch you when you out there chasing the weakest dollar possible. You have to make sure that you are putting your expertise at a higher level. That's how you make that sales, that money part effortless. The money part becomes effortless when you really get the client ready to talk about the money. When you really go, we got 3 things to talk about. I'm gonna say it one more time. Time, then you talk about, and what I do is I go, we're gonna talk about time, effort, and money. Let's start with time. Then I say, we talked about time. Next, we have to talk about effort and money. Let's talk about effort. Then I'll say, we talked about time and effort. The only thing left to talk about is money. This is my range. Where are you within that range? I have not yet told them about my service. If there's nothing else that you learn from this, there's 2 things I want you to remember. Number 1, how to open the conversation. What's going on in your world? Number 2, how to get to the money conversation so it's not cringy. Because here's the thing. Once someone tells me what their range is, I now know specifically which offer. If you're an expert at what you do, you know specifically when someone gives you a range, what you're going to include and what to exclude. You already know when you're within that range. If I said sales coaching is between $3,750, $3,750 and $7,500, where are you? And they said $5,000, I know exactly what service I'm offering. I know exactly. So your offers have to be on point. And you want to make sure they're tight. That's how you get past that cringy money conversation. Because here's the thing. Once I then tell them about the service that money pays for, what objections are they going to give me? They just told me they got time. They just told me they're willing to put in the effort. And they just told me where they were in the money. What are they going to say now? They don't have the money? So are you a liar? Because we just talked about money. What changed in the past 2 minutes on the phone call? People don't want that. What do you think about offering packages and posting that price online? We post our package prices online and they are in a range. They definitely go in a range. Right? I don't have a problem with that. What I don't want you to do, Sarah, is I don't want you to have a CVS receipt of packages online, because when people have too much to pick from, they won't pick from anything at all. Right? So I tell you to maximize at 3. Here's my low, middle, and high. Okay. By the way, if you have too many people buying into your high-end package, it means it's too cheap and it should be in the middle. Also, let's talk about numbers a little bit. We don't end our prices with 9 or 8, like $29.99, $39.99, $29.98. We don't do that. That is definitely for like if you're doing, Walmart pricing. We're not doing that. Absolutely not. You end with 25, 50, 75, or double zeros. Okay? Don't end with the 9s and stuff like that. If you're doing really high-end pricing, right, where, people are pulling out their American Express card, one of the tricks for you is that you can tell someone, raise your rates by 10%, and then say, listen, if you reserve the package or the offer in full, so let's say you had something where it was going to be a monthly payment, for argument's sake. If they reserve it in full now, in other words, if they're paying ahead now, then you can give them a 6% incentive. You're giving them an incentive for buying now. That incentive, I've taught people, whether they're in plumbing or AC or whatever they're doing, to do that, and they get more cash flow ahead of time. So instead of paying for my notary service after it's done, if you pay for it right now before we get off the phone, you'll get a 6% savings, not discount, savings. If they don't do it before you get off the phone, then they don't get the savings. It's that simple. You're doing it now, you're reserving it. And we don't have show up fees, we have appointment deposits. I want you to get rid of the word fee if you're using fee as well, because that kills your sales. People with money don't like to pay fees. They will argue a fee every day, twice on Sunday. Don't do fees. You can do appointment deposits. You can do anything else. Do not do fees. Do not do fees. Okay. I'm going to keep going in exactly 40 seconds. What questions do you have right now? I love that Sarah asked that question. What questions do you have right now before we keep going? Because I don't want to discount your questions at all. Oh, wait, I got a little QA thing. Okay, nothing there. All right, good. I'm glad you guys aren't using the QA thing, because quite honestly, I'm only using the chat. Okay. I love this one. How do you respond when they say they will think about it? I absolutely love that you answered this question, Kay Tyler. Here's how I handle that. So when someone tells me they have to think about it, I tell them the following. You know what? I absolutely recognize that you should think about it. And why do I say that? Because I recognize that I'm selling a service that is higher than my competitors out there. And this is a very serious decision. So I do think you should think about it. Before you think about it, though, I just want to make sure that when you're going off and you're having this conversation with yourself or with whomever you're going to talk about it, that you're actually saying the right thing. So usually when people have to think about it, this is the phrase that pays. Usually when people have to think about it, they're thinking about one of 3 things. Time, effort, or money? Which of those three things is at top of mind for you? Time, effort, money. And effort, by the way, could be fit. Like, does this really fit? Right? Does it fit in my time frame? Does it fit in the work that I'm going to do and the results that I expect? Does it fit within the budget that I have? And so I tell them straight up, that's what they're going to think about. Which one of those things are you going to think about? Now, I will tell you, I've had people literally say, well, Dawnna, I'm not really good at watching a bunch of videos and taking tests and then sending questions. And I'm like, what videos? What videos? Who talked about watching videos? Our coaching is like this. It's one-to-one. Or it's in a small group. But what videos are you watching? And then they're like, well, with most programs. And I'm like, yeah, this isn't most programs. We don't do that. We don't do programs. We're actually consultants and coaches. We're going to help you with everything from your pricing to your offers to your sales to your lead generation. We don't do that by having you watch videos. You can, we have them, but that's just if you want to go and get like education at 2 o'clock in the morning because you can't sleep. Right? So by asking them that question, sometimes I've found that people are they have these beliefs that are not correct beliefs. They heard something from what I call past trauma, right? They were traumatized by some other service they got, and now they're taking that trauma and they're applying it to me, and now I'm the next new girlfriend who has to fix it, right? So I'm going, wait, no, that's not me. We don't do that. We actually have one-to-one and small group conversations with you. We're working specifically on your business, on offers, pricing, sales, and lead generation, right? Or as we call it, market attraction. So there are no videos. And then they'll go, oh, there aren't any videos? That's what you want to do in regards to making sure that you're asking them, what are you going to go think about? You will not believe how many more people have closed the deal right then on the phone because something that they thought was not correct. Now, if they do want to go think about it, that's fine. What you do is this. First, say, I understand why you want to think about it. It's a very important decision. And what I love is that when I'm working with people like you that, when you say you're going to show up, you're going to show up. So let's do this. And I want you to listen to what I'm using on purpose. What I love about working with people like you is when you say you're going to show up, you're going to show up. So why don't we do this? Let's set up a time. And then I go in, and I'm sure it's not going to take you 5 days to think about it. I mean, it's not that much to think about. Then I'll pull out my calendar and I'll say, how does next week Tuesday look like for you at 2 o'clock? How do you look over the next couple of days? What does Thursday at 5 look like? Usually it's no more than 2 days, by the way. It doesn't take somebody 10 days to think about something. Right? When people go, oh, give me a couple of weeks, I already know they're not serious. And I'll tell them, I'm like, listen, it doesn't take 2 weeks for somebody to think about this. So if we're not going to do it in the next couple of days, I mean, do we really want to meet in 2 weeks for you to cancel it? Remember, you're in the driver's seat, so drive. You have to have the testicular fortitude and the ovarian audacity to say some of these things, because quite honestly, you don't have really good examples out there of people telling you that you have the magical elixir. You have the solution they desperately want and need. We think the person with the money has the power. No, the person with the solution has the power. You just have to make sure that you're charging for it and act like it. What if they say, I don't have my schedule with me. Let me get back to you. I'm going to show you exactly what I do. Because this is how you know people are full of crap. You have your phone? Yeah, okay, so go ahead and grab your calendar and let's go ahead and set up something for the next couple of weeks. Who in the heck does not have their cell phone on them? And by the way, even if I'm sitting in front of my computer and I'm on Zoom, I'll literally say, you got your phone with you? Yeah, go ahead and pick up your phone and let's look at your calendar for the next week or so. Now, my calendar, by the way, is on my computer. Why the heck am I holding my phone? Because I'm giving them an example of what they should be mirroring. Yeah, just let's see. So like, Kay, Tyler, I'm gonna talk to you. What does your tomorrow look like? I'm booked at 10. I'm booked at 12. I'm open at 2:30. How does 2:30 look for you? It doesn't feel. So I'm gonna ask Kay, does that feel cringy to you when I say it like that? Or does it feel like, no, we just no, right? That's my point. It doesn't feel cringy or pushy at all. I'm like, girl, like, I mean, or God, I don't know. Just like, what are we doing? What are we getting on? And it's not even a calling them out. It's like, Mr. B, if I was gonna talk to you, like if I was gonna talk to you, I would be like, yeah, yeah, what you doing on Wednesday? Like if we were gonna hang out, I'd be like, what are you doing on Wednesday? Why do we have to make it any different than when we're talking to this person that we're about to give them our magical elixir? We're about to give them our magical elixir and they're about to pay for it and we're about to be in a relationship. Why should it be any different? Hey, so what are you doing on Wednesday? It's only cringy because we make it cringy. So don't make it cringy. And then, like I said, you want to do next step domination. That's next step domination. Next step domination is if they're not going to buy right now, we need to get you on the calendar in the next couple of days. And literally pull out your phone and ask them, you got your phone with you? All right, go ahead and grab your calendar. People say they don't have their calendar in front of them. You know, that's a lie. Of course they got their calendar in front of them. It's on their phone. Who doesn't have their calendar on the phone? Look, y'all see, I can pull mine up. Who doesn't have their calendar on their phone? And so quite honestly, when people start BSing me and I'm like, listen, you know what? This doesn't seem like it's a good fit right now. So why don't you take my number and give me a call back when you're ready? Not everybody is your client. And the reason it feels cringy and gross is because you're chasing them. Now, I'm not saying let things fall through the crack. No, get people on your calendar. Use a calendar. Make sure that your appointments are on there. I can tell you everything I'm doing this afternoon. I can tell you everything I'm doing for the next month based on this calendar. Right? Okay. So listen, I know I gave you a lot of information. Hopefully you didn't fall asleep on it. I'm just going to drop this here. Superstar. That's the URL where you can actually get to download this so you can kind of walk through it a little bit. It's just 4 simple steps. What's going on in their world, gauntlet of disqualification, next step making your offer, and next step domination. It really is 4 steps. Like sales does not have to be super complicated or hard. I used to hate sales. And then I wanted it just to be really, really easy. I put it, it's salessuperstar.net. Oh, you know what? I didn't put the link. I'm only putting it for hosts and panelists. Y'all know what? I'm over here typing. I've been typing stuff the whole time. And of course, everyone can't see it. I got some great answers. There were some amazing one-liners in there. Anyway, go to salessuperstar.net and you can grab the download. The download literally takes you what we call the dark side. This is gets your prospects talking, ask them what's going on in the world. Then you go through the gauntlet of disqualification, making sure that they qualify for what you have to offer. Take them over to the light side where you're like, listen, I got the magical elixir. You said you got the time, you got the effort, you got the money. I got the magical elixir. And then you go right into next step domination. Next step domination is where it's the logical next step. You don't have to go in for the close. They should literally be saying, how do I pay for this? How do I give you money? What do I have to do next? They want to. You never have to go to the close. You just have to go to the logical next step. That logical next step is either they're going to get on your calendar, have a secondary conversation, or they're going to close the deal, or they're going to go away. That's it. It's one of those 3 things. What you don't want to do is overcomplicate it by making it cringy. And to talk about sales one more time, talk about sales, all you have to really say is, we have to talk about 3 things before I tell you about my solution. I have a solution that's right for you. 3 things: time, effort, money. Oh, last thing. If someone says I have to think about it, that's no different than if they said I have to go and talk to my significant other or I have to talk to my partner. No different. Thing I like to say is great. So what you've done is you've chosen to go and be a sales pro in my company. And I appreciate that because now you got to go and sell this to them. What is the first thing you're going to tell them about my solution? How are you going to sell them on it? I literally put them in a position of selling them on it. And then I'll say, well, what if they say this? Well, what if they say that? What am I doing? I am educating them into how they should sell my stuff, as well as answering the questions that they have in their mind that they didn't even know that they had. Don't be afraid to be in the driver's seat. You decided to go out and be an entrepreneur and run your own business and be a powerhouse. I need you to be the CEO of your business and actually be the powerhouse you are. Jeff Bezos isn't begging people. Why should you? He started off exactly like you were, selling books out of his garage. He was a powerhouse before he became a billionaire. You have to be a powerhouse to be the billionaire you want to be. You have to recognize that what you own, your magical elixir, is truly that. It's magical. Your clients want it. You have to put value to it. Don't sell it for cheaper, just give it away. That's all I have for you.
Such great information. So we have just a minute. If anybody has another question, I drop that in the chat. And so something that I know, I'm going to pose this question because I know that this has happened to a lot of small business owners. What if somebody wants to haggle over your price?
Don't discount.
How do you handle that?
Incentives. I don't do discounts. We don't do discounts. We'll do incentives, and we will incentivize them to take action, but we don't do discounts. Think about it this way, discounts is actually stealing from someone's commitment. Someone has committed to make a change. So I'll use someone going to the gym. They've committed that they're going to work out every day. And so usually what a salesperson will do is, well, you know what, because you're committed, I'm going to not charge you $25 a month. I'm going to charge you $20 a month because I really want you to show up. In fact, if you pay for the year, it'll only be $15 a month. So now they have your money and you go for 15 days and never show up again. But then the other person says this, I'm going to charge you $15 a month. And for every day that you don't show up, I'm going to charge you $10. You have to come at least 20 days. Which one of those two people is more committed? The one who's going to penalize you for not being there, or the one who's charging you $15 because they know that you're not going to show up? When you give a discount, you discount people's dreams. So don't discount. You can incentivize the action that you want, incentivize the behavior you want, but do not discount your service. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. And do you have any advice for people who sell products versus services? Anything that's different there?
Same thing. Same thing, whether you're selling products or services, unless you're really trying to get rid of inventory, which does happen, do not discount it at all. Don't discount your stuff. Make sure you can incentivize it, right? You can put them on a membership program where they can get coupons and stuff like that. But now you have data, and that data has value. You're trading value for value. You're not just throwing out a discount to throw out a discount.
Right. Well, we are at time and I don't see any other questions at the moment. So Dawnna, thank you. This has been so great. And I hope you're seeing the love it, awesome, thank you, all of that coming in the chat.
Thank you.
So we will get this recording out shortly. Look for that follow-up email with the recording link in your inbox. And then if you have a few minutes to give us some feedback, we'd love to hear from our attendees and hear what else would be beneficial to you in our educational offerings here at the NYSBDC. So we will wrap for today. Any last words that you wanted to share with us, Dawnna?
Nope, I just want everyone to remember, open up with what's going on in your world, and don't forget to use the gauntlet of disqualification. That's your game changer.
Perfect. All right. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.